The real fireworks in football don't always happen under stadium lights. Sometimes they explode in the silence of a closed dressing room, far away from fans, far from cameras. This is where masks come off, where heroes break, and where careers make or break in a single moment. Number 1. Zlatan versus Onuoha catfight in the locker room. The final whistle blew, but for Zlatan Ibrahimović, the match was far from over. Tension was building like nothing else on the pitch that night in Salt Lake City. Zlatan spent 90 minutes of the match taunting Onuoha and testing his patience. Those shoulder barges, insults, and that signature smirk were too much for anyone to take. And then came the ultimatum, the goal followed by the celebration right in Anuoha's face. It was not just provocation, it was warfare where Anuoha, furious, stormed down the tunnel, calling off the drama. Game over, right? Not yet. Minutes later, something unbelievable happened. Zlatan, still in his LA Galaxy kit, walked straight into the real Salt Lake dressing room. Not a knock, not even a single word. Teammates were frozen while staff looked away and Anuoha just stood up. Zlatan said he came to apologize, but his tone was cold and so unbothered, the kind of apology that carries a dare in its shadow. Anuoha didn't flinch, and it didn't take another second for him to say, "Get out." Cameras didn't catch the full exchange, but phones did. Those eyewitnesses still remember the storm that almost broke loose and the fist that almost raised. But without making any more mess, Zlatan walked out like he walked in, calm, controlled, yet dangerous. And just like that, the moment was over. But the room never felt the same again. Number 2. Zlatan threw Gattuso into a bin. At AC Milan, intensity was never just part of the game, it was always the culture, but sometimes it can very easily slip into absurdity. That is what happened between Zlatan and Gennaro Gattuso. It started like a joke where Gattuso kept poking at Zlatan during training. Yes, teasing him and daring him. And everyone laughed except Zlatan. When Zlatan doesn't laugh, it is pretty sure that something is coming. Later that day, in the Milan dressing room with no fans, no press, just teammates, Zlatan snapped. He walked straight up to Gattuso, lifted him clean off the floor, and dumped him headfirst into a trash bin without a warning. No one moved. No one knew if this was a joke or the beginning of war. Gattuso scrambled out furious, but paused when he saw Zlatan's face, which was stone and serious. And what followed was silence, the kind that says, "Don't test me again." Even Thiago Silva admitted he couldn't believe what he saw. And this was not about humiliation. It was about dominance where Zlatan wanted to say, "I don't care who you are. I'm the lion now." Number 3. Lloris versus Son at Tottenham's halftime. Tottenham were leading Everton 1-0 when the final whistle sounded. Fans couldn't control their cheer while the pitch was just so calm. But what followed off camera was anything but peaceful. When the players headed towards the tunnel, Hugo Lloris snapped. He stormed in and lunged at Son Heung-min, shouting in his face. He was furious. He believed Son failed to track back, which cost them a goal right before halftime. Teammates tried so hard to pull them apart. Lo Celso, Sissoko, and Winks just wanted to stop something that felt 1 second away from turning violent. But the real storm came behind the dressing room door. Lloris grabbed Son, pressing him against the wall. His voice was filled with rage. Son was not ready to give up either. He clenched his fist and stood tall. Every player could feel that this was not just a spat, it was about leadership, pride, and pressure boiling over the team. Then, just like that, the second half began. Lloris and Son stepped outside side by side, but everyone knew something real had cracked open that night. Number 4. Neymar and Mbappe dressing room fight after Neymar refuses to give Mbappe a penalty. This time, the drama sprouted out inside one of football's most glamorous dressing rooms, Paris Saint-Germain. It was a Champions League night. The pressure was crushing due to the trailing of PSG. The team was summoned after the match for one thing. Neymar refused to hand the ball to Mbappe during a crucial penalty sequence. Mbappe was so frustrated and he confronted Neymar. Then, suddenly, the talk slipped into a verbal argument. One clip shows Neymar's face inches from Mbappe's, where words are flying around. Finally, a few veterans had to step in to separate the two. It was not merely a disagreement, it was a public crack in PSG's star-studded facade. The footage leaked, sparking global headlines and fueling endless debate about whether that was a toxic rivalry. Later, both claimed it was a misunderstanding, but those videos proved otherwise. It was not friendly fire, it was the heat of ambition surrounded by personal pride. It was the footage that exposed ambition, ego, and raw emotions that come with football. Number 5, Real Madrid's 2016 UCL Final dressing room speech by Ronaldo. It's the Champions League Final 2016. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid locked in a deadly duel like nothing else. The first half ends and tensions pulse too fast. But something that happened inside the dressing room of Real Madrid was enough for the great comeback of the team. Cristiano Ronaldo, fresh off the pitch, steps forward. Teammates had no clue what he was up to, and that is when he began to speak, firm, furious, yet focused. "Listen," he says, voice low but thundering, "we will win this." Those words were enough to spark a sense of confidence in his teammates, a spark enough to win the match. Every word lands like a punch when he talks about missed chances, dropped men, and a lack of killer instinct. And that was not a breakdown, but a breakthrough or an eye-opener for the team. This is our Champions League, not theirs. Ours, we want this. Yes, typical Cristiano Ronaldo. Madrid returned to the pitch with a fire. Sergio Ramos thundered in the 93rd minute. They grabbed their 11th title on penalties. Yet, the trophy was only part of it. The real turning point came away from the pitch in a tiny room. Yes, a bare room, filled with echoes of passion, led by the man who refused to settle. And the message for everyone was that when the world watches the goals, the locker room battles matter too. Sometimes they shape the matches. Number 6, Luis Enrique teaching Mbappé. It was not a rant nor a scream, but it shook the life out of Kylian Mbappé. The clip was too short, but the tension in it was too thick. PSG had just endured a shaky first half in the match. Yet Kylian Mbappé, the star, the untouchable, had been taking it too lightly or maybe too casually without the ball. Most coaches wouldn't dare challenge him, but Luis Enrique isn't like most coaches. After the match, a camera caught him standing in front of Kylian Mbappé with a calm voice and eyes locked. He doesn't raise his tone, and he doesn't need to. You have to set an example as a human and as a player. Those words found their way straight into the heart of Mbappé. Mbappé stares back at him with a blank expression and arms crossed. He pauses the video frame by frame and step by lazy step. At that moment, one message hit harder than any team talked to Mbappé. Yes, status doesn't excuse effort, and even kings get called out when the crown slips from their hands. In football, the real battles are not always on the pitch. They happen behind closed doors where egos clash, truths get told, and champions are made or broken. These dressing room moments reveal what fans never see. Those raw tensions, that brutal honesty, the fire that fuels the game, and greatness. That happens with no filters and no scripts. It is just power, pressure, and pride in its purest form. From silent stare-downs to powerful speeches, this is the side of football where legends are molded not by goals, but by grit. And remember, the game might start on the field, but it is often decided in the dressing room. So, which moment hit you the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold football drama.